We are now on day 27 of one of the most explosive military conflicts the world has seen in decades. And tonight, the stakes have never been higher. The United States military is quietly, but rapidly, assembling what officials are calling a final blow scenario against Iran. Thousands of troops, elite airborne forces, Marines, naval warships, A-10 Thunderbolts, Apache gunships, and a list of 4 major military targets that could reshape the entire Middle East. Tonight, we break down exactly what the Pentagon is planning, what the islands are, what the uranium problem is, why military experts say this is far more dangerous than it looks, and what just happened today that could change the timeline of this entire war. Stay with us. This is the full story. Let us start with what just happened today, Thursday, March 26, 2026, because it is major. Citing ongoing talks with Iran, President Trump announced on Truth Social that he was extending the deadline for Iran to reopen the Strait of Hormuz by 10 additional days, pushing the new deadline to Monday, April 6, 2026 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Writing in his signature all-cap style, Trump posted, "As per Iranian government request, please let this statement serve to represent that I am pausing the period of energy plant destruction by 10 days. To Monday, April 6, 2026 at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Talks are ongoing, and despite erroneous statements to the contrary by the fake news media and others, they are going very well." Yahoo! But here is the critical context behind that announcement, because while Trump is extending the diplomatic window, the military machine is not slowing down, not even slightly. Iran formally rejected the U.S. 15-point ceasefire proposal on March 25th, issuing its own 5-condition counterproposal via state media and declaring it would fight until complete victory. The White House confirmed that Operation Epic Fury continues unabated alongside diplomatic efforts. Today, the war in the Middle East also ramped up significantly, as Israel launched a wave of strikes targeting Iranian infrastructure in the central city of Isfahan, and announced it had killed the head of the Iranian Revolutionary Guard's Navy. Iran hit back, firing 2 rounds of missiles at central Israel, causing destruction and injuries. So the 5-day pause became a 10-day pause. But the bombs are still falling, the troops are still moving, and the planning for what officials are calling the final blow is accelerating by the hour. On February 28, 2026, the United States and Israel launched coordinated airstrikes on Iran under Operation Epic Fury, targeting military facilities, nuclear sites, and leadership, resulting in the death of Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. In response, Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz to all foreign shipping. The IRGC transmitted warnings via radio to vessels in the strait, stating that no ship is allowed to pass. Oil prices surged faster than during any other conflict in recent history. Brent crude oil prices surpassed $100 per barrel for the first time in 4 years, rising to $126 per barrel at its peak. The closure of the strait has been described as the largest disruption to the energy supply since the 1970s energy crisis, and the largest in the history of the global oil market. Over 150 ships anchored outside the strait to avoid risks. Tanker traffic dropped by approximately 70%. Iran made 21 confirmed attacks on merchant ships. The world's energy supply was effectively held hostage. In response to the strikes, Iran launched retaliatory missile and drone attacks on U.S. military bases, Israeli territory, and other Gulf states. The Iranian government condemned the attacks as a breach of the UN Charter and declared it would exercise its right to self-defense. This is the world we are living in right now. And against that backdrop, the Pentagon has been quietly putting together a plan that could end this war in the most dramatic fashion possible. In interviews with Axios, officials and sources familiar with internal discussions have described 4 major final blow options that President Trump could choose from. Option 1, invading or blockading Karg Island, Iran's main oil export hub. Option 2, invading Larak, an island that helps Iran solidify its control of the Strait of Hormuz. Option 3, seizing Abu Musa and 2 smaller islands near the western entrance to the strait, which are controlled by Iran but also claimed by the UAE. Option 4, blocking or seizing ships that are exporting Iranian oil on the eastern side of the Hormuz Strait. The U.S. military has also prepared plans for ground operations deep inside the interior of Iran to secure the highly enriched uranium buried within nuclear facilities. Instead of conducting such a complicated and risky operation, the U.S. could instead carry out large-scale airstrikes on the facilities to try to prevent Iran from ever accessing the material. Trump has not yet made a decision on pursuing any of these scenarios, and White House officials describe any potential ground operations as hypothetical. But sources say he is ready to escalate if talks with Iran do not yield tangible results soon. Let us break down each one of these options in detail, because each one carries its own extraordinary risks. The key to understanding the military situation in the Strait of Hormuz is understanding the geography of the islands that surround it. Because whoever controls those islands controls the strait. 7 of the 8 major islands in the Strait of Hormuz are controlled by Iran. The strait's 2 shipping lanes are each approximately 2 miles wide and are flanked on the northern side by Iran's rugged coastline and a chain of strategically located islands, including Qeshm, Larak, Hormuz, and the disputed Abu Musa, along with the Greater and Lesser Tunb Islands. Military experts estimate that a sea-skimming cruise missile launched from Qeshm Island could strike a fully loaded supertanker transiting the waterway in under 2 minutes. Iran has spent the past 3 decades strengthening military infrastructure on these islands. Assessments suggest that strikes have not significantly damaged Iran's core military capabilities located there. Even as some U.S. military analysts publicly debate which island might theoretically be seized, other experts argue that any ground invasion would be extremely risky and potentially unviable. Securing the strait would require control not only of Karg, but also Qeshm, Larak, and Abu Musa, along with the capacity to neutralize coastal defense batteries and naval mine stockpiles. The strait's channels require vessels to navigate extremely narrow paths turning close to Iran's mountainous coastline. Towering cliffs rising thousands of feet make it virtually impossible to secure control. This is the brutal geographic reality that U.S. military planners are staring at right now. Here is where we stand tonight, Thursday, March 26, 2026, day 27 of Operation Epic Fury. Trump has extended the deadline to April 6th. Iran has rejected the U.S. 15-point proposal and issued 5 conditions of its own. Israel has killed Iran's top naval commander. Iran has fired 2 more rounds of missiles at central Israel. The 82nd Airborne is deploying. The Marines are coming. The warships are moving. And the Pentagon has 4 final blow options sitting on the president's desk. Some U.S. officials think a crushing show of force to conclude the fighting would create more leverage in peace talks, or simply give Trump something to point to and declare victory. But Iran also has a say in how this war ends, and many of the scenarios under discussion would risk prolonging and intensifying the fight rather than bringing it to a dramatic conclusion. The next 10 days will define the trajectory of this conflict. Will diplomacy hold? Will Trump pull the trigger on the final blow? Will the Strait of Hormuz reopen before a ground war begins? We are watching every development in real time, and we will keep you informed every single step of the way. If this video informed you and helped you understand what is really happening in the world right now, please like, subscribe, and share. This is the journalism that matters. See you at the next update. Of all the targets, Karg Island stands out. It is Iran's crown jewel, and seizing it would control 90% of their oil exports. But the risks are enormous. Iran's asymmetric capabilities, including fast attack craft and naval mines, remain a potent threat. Deep underground sits a stockpile of 900 pounds of highly enriched uranium. It is the existential question at the heart of this conflict. The gap between the U.S. proposal and Iran's conditions is staggering. We are not even in the same ballpark. The IRGC's small boat fleet remains intact. Between 1,000 and 2,000 boats are still capable of disrupting the entire region. The tragic irony is this. The Strait of Hormuz was open before the conflict. Now, we face an invasion to reopen what was already open.